everybody. I'm Cheryl Jackson, and welcome to our Author's Corner. Real interesting Author's Corner this time because she's usually the interviewer as well. It's my sister, Denise Hill. Hey!
Hey now, this is different, isn't
it crazy? But I love all of it because Denise has a book. Now this is book number 4, right? Book called Pass the Mic. And man, when I read this book, I said, I could have done that. I probably should have. And as you know, because we journal, we journal some of these life experiences, but it just gives her perspective of meeting some of the most amazing people in our format of music, and then her learning life lessons from them. I said, she is so smart. I should have did that. I don't know any life lessons. All I know is I know some of these people. And so what a brilliant idea this has been.
Thank you. I think the key isn't so much for me, the people that we met, though we've got to, and in our industry, kind of take time to pause and be grateful for the phenomenal people we get to come across. But just in general, people tend to leave the wisdom from experiences and interactions in life just on the table, and they walk away from them and consider them the past. But it's relationships, it's connections, it's experience, it's things that you don't have to go through again if you get the lesson. And so that's why I wanted to pull those experiences out and grab the stories and the lessons I learned from them.
Now let's talk about the process, because you're talking almost 20 years, like 20 years.
No, I'm on the other side of 25 now.
Really?
I'm only a year or two behind you, yeah.
Yeah, because this is 29 for me,
Yeah,
so.
I'm like 27.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is all these years of being engaged, and these people have become family for us, or relationships with us. People don't understand. We gotta be careful about what we say when we're talking, because we have relationship with a lot of these people. And so for you to take that journey and remember, and then talk about the life lessons, did you chronicleize that? Like I asked you earlier, did you journal it? Like how do you remember?
I didn't journal. I tried to record everything.
Got it.
And just keep in audio. And in fact, I have a podcast stemming from this where I play back some of those interviews and relive some of those situations for people to hear as well. But I tried to chronicle everything through photos, through continuing these relationships, through the actual interviews themselves. And then some of the interactions were just so powerful and impactful that I just couldn't forget them anyway.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So let's dig into it a little bit, because I love how just what you said in the beginning, you preface it by saying, read this book and take the idea of not letting relationships pass you.
Yeah.
Like you cross people's path and it means something.
Yeah.
Like take the opportunity to breathe that in and learn something from it. Only a communicator could do that, could word it that way. So is that the whole bedrock of this particular book?
It really is. I had in mind a storage unit. And if you think of a storage unit, we put a lot of stuff that we don't want to think about, we don't want to look at anymore. It's just taking up space. But we still own that stuff. Yeah. We purchased it, we paid for it, it was gifted to us, we inherited it, it's our stuff. And we just walk away from a storage unit like that stuff doesn't belong to us anymore. But there's some wonderful things in those storage units, and if we don't go in and get them, somebody else will pick up those nuggets or pick up those jewels and prosper, heal their marriage, take care of their family, build their business off of the jewels that you earned for your life. You know what I mean? And it's interesting. There's a television show called Storage Wars, right? And one of the people from that show, they said, it's crazy. Some of the things that we find in here could have paid for these people's storage unit. And in life, that's just the way we are. We go so fast that some of the things that could have taken us to that next level, we talk about going to the next level, going to the next dimension, and we put it all in God's hand. But he's like, listen, I gave you this encounter and you were hurt. Yeah, that's it. You want to focus on the hurt, on the disappointment, on what you thought should have been, that you won't get all the wonderfulness that was in this thing too. And there are those things that have been so hurtful and so, they traumatized us that's all we can see. But guess what? You learn something from that if you take a moment to just reflect. It's so much power in reflection. And so that was the bedrock of all this.
Got it. And it's so much, you pegged on something, because people just see the highs of our career. They hear us and they think, oh, it's glamorous. They get to go to all the concerts and they got tickets and they know these people. Yeah. But they don't know the grueling process. First off, to get in that seat.
Yes.
for
Yes.
God to offer, and I say God, to offer the opportunity
Yeah.
because, you know, man think that they have that kind
Yeah.
of power. But for us to be in the seat is number
Yeah.
one. Then to stay in the seat is number two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then to maintain while
Yes.
in that seat.
Yes.
You know? And so it's a grueling process. So
And
talk about some of the, an example in the book that kind of helped you in that perspective.
Wow, grueling process made me think immediately of Israel
Got
Holton
it.
from Israel and New Breed. So I was on WKYS, which is a hip hop station in Washington, D.C., and I was doing gospel on Sunday mornings. It was a great show, great opportunity because at that point there was only one person who pretty much dominated Sunday mornings
And you gave the alternative.
and I was able to build
Absolutely.
something wonderful. And so I was responsible for deciding what would get played, and I was determined to kind of make sure everybody had an opportunity, regardless of if you had a label, all the politics of the industry and everything. I wanted everybody to have an opportunity. So this thing crossed my path, this one CD. It was just in a white sleeve and just had black writing on it. And it said, Israel and New Breed, a new season. No picture, no nothing. Now we in the industry know when there's no picture, you try to hide something. What's going on? Either they're of another.
Or we're not even going to look at it.
That's it. Or we're going to throw it away. And that's what happened. Everything kind of piles up and you just pick a day when you'll listen to stuff. And so I'm just cleaning the house and I'm popping CDs in and I pop in a new season. I'm like, wow, this joint is fire. And so I play it and I immediately contact the record rep and I'm like, I want to interview this guy. And long story short, that it took off from there to the point where Israel credited me for kind of breaking him in the industry. Wonderful. I know his music, it was bananas to begin with. Somebody eventually would have picked that up. But because of that opportunity, he and I forged a great relationship. And he came to do a concert that I did because, you know, we do multiple things in this industry. And so I said, I'm going to do a concert. It was in conjunction with the National Football League's Christian Association. So Darryl Green and Art Monk and folks like that who profess Christ were part of that as well. And, you know, artists don't deal with it. Their people deal with it. But because of the relationship we had, Israel kind of came together with me on this. And you know, things didn't work out the way I wanted them to. Somebody who I was working with stole some tickets, which meant money was gone, and you know, all types of hell broke loose. And at the end of that, I felt shame.
Right.
I was like,
Because
this
you're
is,
the face of
I'm
it.
the face, I'm the name, everybody knows me. This is a up-and-coming artist who's gonna be phenomenal and award-winning and worldwide and all this, and I'm looking crazy. And at the end of all that, he still called me sister. He still, even to this day, when he read the book and he was like, I remember that like it was yesterday.
Wow.
And you still my sister. He still tells people this is where it started. This
Yeah.
woman in DC played, Denise Hill, the gospel lady, played my radio and so my record. And so having those relationships and being able to really realize who is about the life they profess in their music, has been a phenomenal process. There are some people and names that have been eliminated from this book. You'll never see them.
Wow.
And the majority of that is because they didn't. You know, we see a lot on the back end we don't talk about.
Right.
And if it's not going to edify, I'm not going to put it in the book. The book is about the lessons and the positivity that you can have in your life
That's
if you
the
reflect.
purpose for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just left those out. But there are some painful experiences that I learned some phenomenal things from because of people like Israel who said, I'm not giving up on you because of this.
Wow.
You still my sister. I still love you.
That's dope. And we followed your lead. 'Cause I was programming another station at that time, and I was like, who is this? You know, and you're right, because once, you know, one person plays it and get exposure, and so we began to add that thing too, and he got a lot of great exposure in DC, all because of the gospel lady. But yeah, so stories like that. So you give the artist, and then you give the life lesson, and then you do quick notes.
Yes.
Tell us the difference in the quick notes.
So the quick notes are just short little stories. I didn't really go in depth, but they were just impactful stories. Like there was one with JoJo from Casey and JoJo,
Yeah.
which is an R&B.
I was like JoJo. I was thinking publicist JoJo.
Yeah,
I was
JoJo
like, who is gospel? That's JoJo. You know, then I realized it's a JoJo in Florida. But no, that ain't the JoJo you was talking about.
JoJo from Casey and JoJo, and it was just hilarious. I'm just standing in the lobby waiting for Fred Hammond, actually, to come and do an interview, and they just hop out the car, out the limo, and this was at a time when they were living life. So they were a bit, they had partaken of, yes.
Of some libation.
And so it didn't matter what woman was in front of them at the time. They were going to push up on them, and I was one of those women, and it was just hilarious. So what's your name, baby? I said, the gospel lady. Oh. Sobered right up. Sobered right up.
Because they straight out the church.
Yes. I was like, I know who you are. Oh, that was
you little Cedric. You little Cedric Haley.
That's it. Little Cedric Haley. What you talking about?
That's good.
So just little quick notes like that, just in between some of the longer, more elaborate stories that I could really pull some stuff out of.
So how long did it take for you to pull this together?
Wow, it was less than a year, actually.
Wow.
It was less than a year. I just started going through things. I was moving from one apartment to another, and I keep all my radio interviews and things in one place. And as I was going through them, I was like, wow, I was remembering all the stories, reliving everything, and I said, I need to just go ahead and try to put something down. And I've actually gone through a couple versions of that because I kept finding new ones. Like one I want to add to it now is Ben Tankard. One thing that we kind of take for granted in Washington, D.C. is that this is the nation's capital. Anybody, including the president of the United States,
could be listening.
Could be listening. Yes.
Somebody driving the car.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I was talking, it was at a time when they had just announced that he was doing a reality show, Thicker Than Water. And I was like, listen, there's another reality show coming out. It's Ben Tankard, Thicker Than Water. I know what you all are thinking, it's another reality show, but Ben Tankard had a great legacy of really supporting the community, paying off people's bills at concerts, taking his entire honorarium and donating it to somebody, and because of all of that, he was able to continue to
building wealth. Yeah.
And that's what the show was about. And I didn't know that he was in town because his sister-in-law and brother and sister, they have a church in Towson, Maryland. So he was in town and he heard that. And so I get an email like 30 minutes later, hey, heard you, would love for you to come to the launch for the show. I'll take care of everything, just come down to Nashville. It's like, well, all right.
I'm on my way.
I'm on the way. And from that, he and his son and I, who's a DJ, have continued to be close. I've helped him with some of the stuff he's done in radio. So, I mean, just being a kind person and living the life you profess will open doors in and of themselves. And then if you just continue to foster and nourish those relationships and don't take them for granted because, well, you know, I just hang around celebrities, that's what I do. No. This is a person with some wisdom and some wealth and some knowledge and some years behind them that can offer you something if you just sit quiet enough, listen, ask the right questions, and be willing to receive.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, I love Denise. We're sisters here at Praise, and I tell you, I learn a lot from you because she is one that's going to hustle. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean building off of her brand from being a, award-winning orator, studying under folk like Les Brown and a one-woman actress, creating a one-woman production. Every gift, she's not dying with any gifts. You hear what I'm saying? To author, to radio announcer, to mommy, and CrossFit expert.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on. And I'm so honored to know you and to watch you.
Thank you.
Not just stop and wait for one door to open, but to kick down a few others.
Thank you.
And one of them doors is going to take you to where you need to go.
I received that.
I honor you. And so listen, this book, you need to go get, family. It's our sister, Denise Hill. It's called Pass the Mic, Life Lessons that she's learned from interviews that she's done throughout the years, and you can learn something from it yourself. I'm a big journaler, one who journals. And so yeah, I definitely have a few books in my bosom that I haven't embarked upon, but you just inspired me to do some stuff.
I will show you how to get it done quick.
Yay!
Absolutely. And thank you for being a sister, because in this industry, there's more opportunities to not love on somebody than there are to love on somebody. So I appreciate that, and for this opportunity, and for sending folks to DeniseHill.com.
DeniseHill.com, and that's the question, you know, we go close out with. How do you find out more about you, and how do you find out how to get this book?
DeniseHill.com is the hub for everything, including I have a Facebook page that addresses depression. I have Victory Over Depression, which is something I've dealt with and struggled to maintain victory over on a daily basis for many, many years. And so that's a kind of community that I'm hoping I can continue to support. But all of my contact, social media, I'm at the Denise Hill on all platforms, but DeniseHill.com is the hub that you'll be able to connect to everything.
Wonderful. All right, it's the Gospel Girls. She's the Gospel Lady. I'll be the Gospel Girl.